Hi, New Life. I am so thrilled that you're here. I am doing the second part of a two-part series, and this video is how to step out of serving at New Life. Things change, seasons of life change, and sometimes it's necessary for us to step out of serving at our local church, and that's okay. And so this video is kind of to walk you through how to do that. Now, if you are actually looking for how to start serving, find the video how to step into serving at New Life. That is the other side of this video, the other side of this coin, I guess. And it has similar principles, but just in reverse. If you want to get involved and you're like, no, my season is getting more and more open, I want to get more and more involved, find the how to step into serving at New Life. But that's the other video. This video is how to step out of serving at New Life. And the principles are the same, okay? One of my favorite verses in the Bible is written by the Apostle Paul, and he says this. He says, "Make it your goal to live a quiet life, minding your own business and working with your hands, just as we instructed you before. Then people who are not Christians will respect the way you live, and you will not need to depend on others." Apostle Paul in his first letter to the church in Thessalonica. Minding your own business. There's a lot of stuff going on, but you are responsible for you, okay? And so I'm going to walk you through some steps. If your business is shifting, your focus is shifting, I want to walk you through some principles in practicing the way of Jesus to step out of serving in a way that keeps your relationship with the church intact, your relationship with other people in the church intact, because change is part of life. It's a healthy part of life. So, our goal at New Life is to practice the way of Jesus together in our community, and serving is a huge part of that. But ultimately, the way of Jesus is obeying the specific call that God has put on your life. All right, I want to say that again. Practicing the way is ultimately about obeying the specific call God has put on your life, minding your own business, okay? First things first, seasons, okay? Seasons come and seasons go. In my first video, I made the analogy that it wouldn't make any sense for you to try and harvest, fruits and vegetables from your garden in the springtime. There isn't anything to harvest. It would be ridiculous. And it would be equally fruitless for you to start planting fruits and vegetables in your garden in October, because they're not gonna grow during winter, right? That wouldn't make any sense. I've got a friend that served at church. She was super involved. She was doing all these things. But it came to the point in her life where her mom needed to be cared for pretty regularly, and she needed to become a caregiver for her mom. And so she said, "Hey, my mom is moving in with me, and I have to sell my house because my house doesn't work for her, and with her, just her mobility issues. And so I need to step back because the season that I'm in, that is Christ honoring, is honoring my mother and helping her in the season of life that she's in." Now, that all went through, and now her mom is now needing so much care that now she's in a facility. And so now my friend is back serving at church. Nothing bad happened. It was just different seasons require different activities, right? So nothing bad, but really you need to assess what season of life you're in. Are you in the season of life where you have young children? Are you in the season of life where you have teenage children and they don't want to hang out with you at all, right? Or maybe, empty nest, or maybe you don't have any you don't have any kids at all, and you've got a ton of time on your hands, or you're going to school full time and you're working full time, and what season are you in? You need to assess that, okay? If God's calling you to step, if God's calling you to step away from serving at New Life, we want to help you figure it out. The leaders and the community of faith at New Life support you. And they're like, I want to say there's no shame, there's no guilt. Like, we understand that seasons is an important part of life. It's just a part of life. And so there's no immorality, or there's no moral issues, there's no ethical issues, really just how to step out of serving well in the season, if that's the season that you're in, okay? So after you assess what your season is, responsibility. That's right, I took the word responsibility and I broke it up into two words, responsibility. What is your ability in this season to respond to the commitments that you've already made, right? Let's just say you've committed to being a greeter, right? And you say, hey, 2 Sundays out of every month, I want to serve, right? But you just got this new job, and the new job, your days off are Friday and Saturday. Man, how do you tell your leader that your responsibility, you're no longer able to respond to that need because things have changed, right? Now, you got to look at, are you able to respond to that? Looking at your schedule, thinking about your family responsibilities, thinking about your work responsibilities. All of those things need to come into play, because the best way to say no to something, and I have found the best way to say no to something without any shame or guilt, is to have a bigger yes somewhere else. And probably a bigger yes has come into your life, and now you need to shift gears and step away, step out of serving in this season. So no hard feelings. There's just a good way to do that, and the best way to do that is to communicate. I like to call it communicating your yes or your no. Jesus said, let your yes be yes, let your no be no. People who are practicing the way of Jesus, people who call themselves children of God, God expects us to do what we said we were going to do, right? And you probably made a commitment. Hey, I'm going to be, and we're going to just go with the usher thing. I committed to serve 2 weeks out of every month. That was my yes, and now I'm stuck because my yes is my yes. Sure, but things change. And at the time you were able to make that commitment. At this time, you need to step away from that, and you need to communicate a no. No, I'm not able to do this in this season, and I need to commit to stepping away. And the leaders here at New Life, we completely understand. Just communicate with us, okay? Talk to your ministry leader. Let them know that something's come up, okay? And it's not reasonable for you to continue to serve on Sunday when you took a job that gives you Friday and Saturday off and you work on Sunday. That just doesn't make any sense. Talk to us. Give us the details. Let us be a part of you moving in your season as you practice the way of Jesus in the different, specific, unique place that God has you, okay? Talk to us. We're going to be super supportive. We want you to do what God has called you to do in this season, okay? We're practicing the way of Jesus together. Practicing the way of Jesus looks different on each of us, and even different at different seasons. And I know I've said this a bunch of times already, but if God is calling you to do something, the leaders at New Life want to support you. We want to encourage you. We want to resource you on how to do that, and to do it in a way that you spiritually grow versus in a way that you spiritually decline, or I'll even use the word decay, right? Because Jesus says that the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, right? That's literally, if you're looking at like a biological thing, that means that it decays. Jesus said, I came to give life and life abundantly. If there's a new season in your life, there is a way that Jesus has for you where that's going to lead to life and life abundantly, not for relationships to die, not for, bitterness and unforgiveness. And things get really weird when people feel guilty or shamed. We don't want any of that. All right. We want to be a part of what God is doing, what Jesus is doing, and leading to life and life abundantly. So with that, Check your season, assess what season you're in, and once you know what season you're in, maybe it's singleness, maybe it's college, maybe it's working full time, maybe it's getting married, maybe it's having kids, maybe it's having older kids, maybe it's kids leaving, maybe it's retiring. I don't know what season you're in, but you need to assess what your season is. And once you figure that out, you need to assess your responsibility, your ability to respond to a need. And in this case, you're realizing, I'm just not able to do that anymore. And if that's the case, if God's leading you in another direction, communicate with us clearly, honestly, without shame, without guilt. We understand that things change. And so just let us know. Say, hey, I can't reasonably do this anymore. There's no hard feelings, but I really can't do that. It's possible that you could be doing something else. And they might suggest that actually, but we want you to stay connected to the body of Jesus, which is the local church. So stay connected, communicate with us, and help us be a part of this new season that God's has you in. So anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned something and you're able to move into this next season in a way that brings life and life abundantly. All right, talk to you.